Good morning, everybody. How you doing? We're back. I feel like I'm sitting so low. It's my chin. How's everybody doing this morning? I see in the comments. I see, and I should say thank you for waiting. I see Miss Phoenix. We were talking earlier. Um, I see Linda D said she had some information on how to pass that um, Amazon or AWS not certified, but cloud practitioner. What's going on, Natasha? How you doing? How you been? Let's see who else. Oh, and Kelvin Davis. Good morning. And whoever else drops in the comments. Good morning to everybody. Did y'all miss us last week? I know. It's okay if you didn't. It's all right. We missed you. It's okay. We're all right with that. It's the one thing about wearing glasses, they fog up. All right. Let's get this show on the road. We got a lot of information to go over. We got a lot of topics to discuss. Man, I'm trying to tell you. Um, yeah. Let's say this. I was encouraging everybody to aim for the $200,000 mark. I think I'm gonna have to change that. I think we're gonna have to go up. I think we're gonna have to go up. All right. What's going on, Lynn? Oh yeah, I said I was gonna say hello. Hello, Hannah. How you doing, Z? I'm out here. We said hello. I promised I said I would do it. And if Zoe jumps in, or if she don't jump in, good morning to Zoe, little cousin out in Washington. All right, so let's get this show on the road. Let's start it up with who we are. I'm Tameika. Behind the scenes is D. Uh, we're together. We're Women in Linux, where we talk about getting into tech from a infrastructure perspective with a baseline of Linux. Even for those who are a part of the group or who know us, we talk about everything. So Linux is just the gateway drug to something else. And when I show you what I have to show you today, and what we're going to talk about on this show and the 2 o'clock show, you'll start to see. All right. So let's get started. If you don't know how to find us, you can find us all on womeninlinux.org. To connect with us on social media, throughout all social media, is Women in Linux. I have to set up what TikTok is set up. I just don't do nothing with it because I'm busy doing research and so forth and so on, which means we probably need to start hiring people. But people got to show up to get hired. You got to show up. You can't just get paid and not show up. That don't work that way. It would be nice if it did, but it doesn't. All right. So if you want to find us, you hit womeninlinux.org. If you want to connect with us, hit connect. A lot of people, I don't know why this is hard for some people. You go to womeninlinux.org and you hit connect. You put in your email address. You download the Slack application. The Slack application, then once you have the Slack application, then you'll be signed in to Women in Linux. You do have to verify the account. All right. Next thing, if you want to shop with us, this is our shop. This is just a 5-year anniversary shop. We do have other material that doesn't have the 5-year anniversary on it as far as the logo. But here's like an example with the 5-year logo, limited edition of stuff. I think this little watch, well, not watch, but uh pouches down there. So here you go. As well as sweatshirts. I had my sweatshirt on throughout the airport. You probably will get stopped as you walk through the airports because people are going to ask you about Linux. They're going to ask you about what is Women in Linux. They're going to ask you about that. So just be prepared. They're going to ask you questions. We get it all the time when we're wearing when we wear our logo. Random people, don't be offended. Just tell them about Women in Linux, what you do with Women in Linux, and what it is. All right. So hit all products when you get here and check out all the products. There's 3 pages of that. And last but not least, again, we always say you can donate with your time. You can donate with money. You can have, we sometimes we'll have people that their company donates or matches a charity of your choice. There's that. If you want to come on the show and do a show with us, or by yourselves, or what have you, I mean, there's plenty of ways to donate. Like again, you don't always have to hear from me. I try to bring other people on, try to highlight other people. Uh, Thank you. So it's just one of those things, right? It's how you see yourself, right? All right. And shout out to Casey Native. Good morning. Master IT, I see you. Appreciate the donation. Lynn, that's right. You got to tell D to get you on the polo game. I've been trying to get her to get me a jogging suit, right? One a little workout jogging suit, D be stingy with the merch, even with me. Okay, even with me, she be stingy with the merch. Just gonna put that out there. All right, she's gonna probably hop in the comments and say no, she not, or she be stingy with the merch, son. All right. So this morning, so much to talk about. All right, let's get cracking. I think where I want to start is here. Let's start with I mentioned this, but I didn't show the article. I can't remember if I did or not. But let's talk about it. Where NASA is studying how to build a Wi-Fi network on the moon in hope it could solve Earth's digital divide, right? On the moon. So again, I tell you all the time, when I'm talking about Linux and jobs and just different things, I'm talking about it from a not just a global perspective, but just start including space. We saw the week before the air balloon ride to the stratosphere, where the company has already sold 475 seats at 125,000 apiece. um Again, we are talking about a a not just a global stratosphere, but space as well too. I Oh god, I got so much information that I need to share. When you miss a week, it's a lot. So here we go. All right, NASA study explores building a Wi-Fi network to the moon. It compared a lunar surface area with the area around Cleveland. NASA's Steve Olson told Insider the framework is conceptual at this stage, with hopes that to inform NASA's Artemis program. So we're gonna have to look that up, right? Let's go look. We got to look that program up, and also how much funding does that program have? Who's funding it? Who's got government contracts on it? Uh, who's actually doing it, right? All right. So here's the Artemis plan. Is a download here. So let's check it out. Let's get into it. All right, there may be some blank pages here, or do they not just have? Let's see. Okay, here we go. All right, let's blow this up. All right, setting humanity on a sustainable course to the moon, landing humans on the moon by 2024. Extending lunar missions and preparing for Mars. So what that says is that's going to be a whole complex. If we're going to land on the moon, set up a Wi-Fi network on the moon, um, think about what the satellites and what's already in place, possibly um, around the moon, so you can avoid, craters and so forth getting hit on the moon, right? Um, and then on top of that, launching from the moon. So what kind of not just material, but what kind of devices do you need to have to launch? Who's going to be involved in that? What does that look like? Calculations. Start thinking about AI and machine learning. Start thinking about the hardware that you need. What type of apparatuses and so forth. Who are the companies that are going to be involved with that? What are we going to do on the moon? How far do we need to dig? Who's gonna be a part of that, right? So let's dive off a little bit more into this. All right, key told you got to dig, right? Key Artemis contributions by NASA centers. So these are the NASA centers, right? And so here we have this Space Kennedy. Of course, we got Huntsville, the Stennis out of Mississippi, New Orleans, Houston, and the list goes on as you can see here. All right. And so then they say suppliers and small businesses across America have made contributions to the success of the Artemis program, with private companies hard at work on innovations. And those private companies are probably more than likely startups that don't say anything or whatnot. But look, here we go. We got partners right here. Let's open that up in the tab. Wait, let's go through this. Let's go through this right here. So here's where we get into, all right, each research center. So these research centers up here are the locations, and then here is who's doing what, right? So we got wind tunnel testing, we have flight and research, we got entry and descent and landing demonstrations. Kennedy is ground systems, Langley is Orion launch. We got space communications here, headquarters, jet propulsion laboratory, JPL, super huge. A lot of money going into jet propulsion, and not only that, there's robotics under that JPL. So you need to check that out as well too. And when we're talking about robotics, I got some stuff on robotics that I want to bring up as well too. So again, and drop a one in this in the comment section if you like what you're hearing, and don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, so we got structural here, SLS core stage structural testing. All right, we something we need, space launch system program, SLS core stage structural testing, Marshall space flight. So Marshall space flight, where's Marshall at on the map here? Where's Marshall? Because they're the ones that's gonna be going probably from right here, that's out of Huntsville. Space Force is going into Huntsville. Follow the money, right? Space Force is moving to Huntsville. FBI headquarters is there again out of Pocatello, Idaho as well too. So you got to remember when we're talking about these things, these are things that are jobs, right? And those jobs fuel communities. Those communities need multifamily units, they need buildings, they need somewhere to eat, schools, and I mean, they got so much to talk about when you're talking about schools, right? All right, so that's that one. Here's the person, Jim, NASA's administrator. NASA has every week they have a meeting on looking for small businesses. I have to go through my email. I'll post it in our Slack group about how you can be involved as a small business to get on with NASA to help out with some of these projects. All right, sending human explores 250,000 miles to the moon and then 140 million miles to Mars requires a bold vision, effective program management, funding for modern systems development and mission. And don't think for once that quantum isn't involved in this as well too, right? When we start talking about AI and quantum, it's going to lead into other stuff, but I'll show you where that's at as well too. All right. So the moon plan is focused on achieving an initial human landing by 2024 with acceptable technical risk. I don't know what that is. No, it's acceptable, while simultaneously working towards sustainable lunar exploration in the mid to late 2020s. 2024 is not an arbitrary date. It is the most ambitious date possible, and our success at the moon and later at the moon will be grounded in our national goals and robust capabilities, right? So if you're looking at moon exploration and human humans being sent out to Mars, wonder what those the health risks are. What does that look like, right? All right. So let's see, early Artemis missions, and I'll drop this link here to D, and she can drop it in. I don't want to spend too much more time on this. I just want to get you, aware of what's going on, where things are headed at, what are we looking at, what should you be looking at, and so forth. And then always think about cybersecurity and all of this. Think about who's gonna be fighting to get to the moon if we get to the moon, right? What are the laws? Who owns the moon? who who owns the moon, right? How do you declare I own the moon, right? What do you let I own the moon? I own this section. Who's gonna come up with the laws? Is this gonna be a global thing? If you had to play nice or whatnot, do we all work together? Are we gonna be shooting rockets from the moon? Are we gonna be, what did that look like, right? So just things to think about, housing on the moon, water, things that we need. Of course, that's already there, but now we know about how to do these things. But how do we do this on a scale where we got at least a community, say a subdivision on the moon, right? So again, I start thinking about 3D printed housing and things that we could take up there that doesn't cost us much, right? How do we do, what does that look like? Is that sustainable up there? uh you know how do we house these things? So, right. So at Lunar South Pole, NASA and its partners will develop an Artemis boot camp, I mean base camp, to support expeditions to the lunar surface. Planned base camp elements include lunar terrain vehicles. So again, drones will probably be another big thing. See, a habitable mobility platform, pressurized rovers, a lunar foundation habitation module, power systems. How long do they last? Sustainability on those power systems. It gets into this whole ESG thing. I don't know if y'all familiar with that. When we start talking about ESG, I'll go into that a little later. There's 25 trillion set aside for ESG, but let me get through this, and then we're gonna go from there. Um, and let's go see, setting humanity on a sustainable course to the moon, the basis for lunar architecture. And but let me go over here because I want to go back up to the table of contents here. All right, so we have landing humans on the moon, which is in chapter 2. And then extending lunar missions and preparing for Mars. And then there's a summary. And then they got core mission elements, Artemis flight readiness, Artemis plan funding requirements. Let's go to that one. All right. This actually, it says phase 1 and phase 2 respectively. In addition to the two areas of Artemis, a third area of mission support spans the entire endeavor. Mission support includes NASA capabilities, workforce, and facilities that are critical to Artemis. The appendix provides a summary of resources required for financial year 2025. Yes, waste management. Um, Schools. You think they won't have children up there? Space junk. That's right. They get to talking about it. Um, Activities to enable return of humans to 2024. So you get there. How do you come back? Let's see. And then let not only this right here, this is the other play when we talk about tech stocks and jobs. What companies are involved? Who's bidding on this? And then what does their stock look like? Are they public? Are they not? Are they gonna go after? You think about, you think we won't have cloud on the moon? We're gonna have some type of cloud on the moon, right? There's gonna be a cloud play on the moon. Who is AWS Azure going to be behind that? There's going to be some type of cloud play on the moon. What does that look like, right? All right, here we go. Orion, and I don't know if these are in the millions. I'm going to assume they are. It's not saying. Let me see. I'm not sure. I'm going to assume this is in the millions, possibly even the billions. But lunar suits, surface logistics, exploration technologies, cell phone service. If we're talking about building Wi-Fi, can't we just use the Wi-Fi cell phone? It's in the millions, okay. And this is the total of phase 1. And then they just kind of go into more about that. But I gave you the PDF for you to look at. we can probably dissect this a little. I could sit here this whole time and dissect all of this because it's so much information. But I got so much more. Just think about this from the perspective of where do you fit in at the embedded at the edge. All right, so um I pick up something because I'm thinking. Embedded at the edge. There's a talk from Cloud Native that I was looking at last night, and with WebAssembly, but the way they're thinking about WebAssembly is not um how I think others are thinking about it. They're thinking about WebAssembly as competition to the cloud, right? As a competitor. So I had to dissect that talk a little more, um, and pull back the onions on the layers, not the onions, the layers on that, to connect the pieces, and show you who are the players inside of that. It was a cloud native. Shoot, let me give you. I can um let me look it up here. Is this one mine? Yeah. Um, Subscriptions. It was from last night. So, all right. So, did I start right here? Yeah. It's cloud native WebAssembly. Let me look up WebAssembly. So that's one, but it wasn't that one. Leveraging WebAssembly, Lightning Talk, adopting, paving the way for WebAssembly, Lightning Talk, WebAssembly. No, it's got seven of them. I when I find it, I'll post it. Um, there's a lot of talk around the third cloud. I've already showed you sky computing and what they're talking about with sky computing, but nevertheless, you get the gist. Make sure you send me a Slack message, because I'll forget about it. All right. All right. So tech stocks and jobs, right? I'm not sure if you all have been seeing this, but Microsoft earnings review for $3 trillion is around the corner. Microsoft delivered 11 straight, this 11th straight all around beat in its fiscal first quarter, and results could not have been much better. Aside the minimal drag due to supply chains, I present the math that supports my bullish case. Microsoft will be $3 trillion, a $3 trillion company in 12 to 24 months. Azure is gaining speed. There's a report out this morning showing that Azure is gaining speed on AWS, as well as Google Cloud Play is to coexist. I'll bring that article up. But that says a lot. When we're talking about, you already saw that Tesla was the not $1 million, $1 trillion company this week. Everybody saw about the 500,000 order from Hertz, but what you didn't see what in the headline was um what some other things that I'm going to bring up that don't want no one talked about. No one talked about this. You didn't even see it. Nobody even said anything about it. Right. All right. So this is going over like who's gonna, like you say, who's gonna make to the $3 trillion mark. Right. Again, um, I would not be surprised if Apple gets there before Microsoft because they have their own chip now. But again, think about how that chip. Let's think about it. How does that chip play in the space, inside of the space force and the space exploration? Who are making these, devices to go explore in space? um how do you mine, Bitcoin, or on space? What do you how are you mining on space? So just thinking outside the box of what that could look like when we're talking about this. And he just goes into showing what's going on with now that Facebook is Meta. We could talk about that too, but here we go right here. Yeah, GCP is data engineer cert is at a min one it's paying 171,000 at a min. That's coming from I think it was salary.com had posted that, but at a min is paying 171,000 a year. That's a median, right? At a min. What's that a median? So that's on average. All right. So that I wanted to, keep you aware of what Microsoft look like. So, as always, let's go to Yahoo Finance. Let's look at I'm in Microsoft. I think my Microsoft was returning me 80%. If I'm not mistaken, MSFT for Microsoft at 331. Let's look at it over a year. We just see an upward trend with that over the 5 years. It's nothing but up from there. You got to remember also to for edge computing, right? When we're talking about edge computing, why these cloud services are important, right? We got to start talking about the Jetsons, the ONX, the ONNX. So let's go ONX and Jetson. I don't know if you're familiar with them, Jetson. Um, so here we're talking about this runtime, which came out a long time ago, but announcing ONX runtime availability in NVIDIA's Jetson Zoo for high performance interferencing. Uh, Super huge on the AI machine learning side. Um, we play with that at OctoML, just FYI, so I know about it. Again, when we start talking about, uh, you can even, and this is another website that I like to use, how to deploy ONX models on Jetsons using Nano, using DeepStream. What does that look like? This is why it's super huge about having that GPU in the new M1s. When we're talking about the number of cores and doing models, AI machine models at your fingertips on your computer, looking at that. All right. So you saw Microsoft, you saw the trend, you see where things are going. Don't these models you can actually get in the cloud. You can actually have those in the cloud. So just be aware of that. All right. So this not last but not least. This is what I want to bring up. I'm gonna hop over here to Tesla. I'm gonna skip my other two links and then I'm gonna come back to those, right? So let's hop over here to Tesla real quick. I don't need to show you what Tesla did for the week. I think you already know. But Elon Musk is the first person to be worth $300 billion, right? All right. So now that Tesla is in the and this was as a Monday, his top 1 trillion, right? Not now has top 1 trillion to see the momentum, blah 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 blah. Okay, we know about the Hertz thing, right? But did you also know that Uber is launching a fleet of 50,000 Teslas? Did you know that? Did y'all see that at all? Nobody said nothing about that. So this cap with this market cap for Tesla with Hertz is estimated to be about 4.2 billion. But did you see that Tesla, I mean not Tesla, but Uber will offer 50,000 Teslas to its drivers through Hertz? Did y'all see that at all? All right. Yep. There you go. Also, did you see this? And don't think other companies are not going to do this. Why? Because there's a skill gap shortage. I'm telling you. So with the skill gap shortage, wrong one. It's got the wrong thing. Hold on. Let me grab this. Don't grab all the way up there. I want to grab this. Do do do. Elon Musk proposes Texas Institute of Technology and Science. He's building his own school. Did y'all see that? Right. So there is a a possibility that he's going to build his own school, right? Because I'm telling you, there's a skill gap shortage. I get phone calls every day for schools, for colleges, from everybody on, hey, we need X, Y, and Z. So thinking of starting a University Texas Institute of Technology and Science. Um, Worth 302. I'm not sure where it's gonna be at inside of what you call it. Yep. So I mean, I'm just saying, like, the takeover is here, right? When you got that much money. Um, the drivers, in participating cities can rent EVs starting November 1st for Uber. So they can start November 1st from renting that. Let me see. I got some more Tesla stuff. Let me see what this one is. I forget. All right. Oh yeah, he didn't even tell his team that he was moving Tesla from the Bay Area to Texas. He was just like, "Yep, this is what we doing. So y'all fix it, fix it, and let us know." All right. All right. Let me see. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I had for Tesla. Was that the of course the EV space. Again, we're still talking about chips, right? We're still talking about that, right? We could go look at Tesla for this week. I think everybody's pretty happy on what happened with Tesla this week, right? If you are in a ETF, sure you're excited. Let's go look at just a 5 day, right? We jumped up here to 1114, and we're at 1114 on a 5 day, right? We thought we was all right at 972, and then we shot up and we did a dip back down here. And then we had a little thing here, and then we shot up back up Friday. And it's gonna keep going up. Right. That's gonna keep going. You said how I don't know how it's gonna support these EVs, but the market is going to grow. Yep, yep, yep. The market is gonna continue to grow. EVs on the moon, right? That's what we're gonna see. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so I had this link about basic income. Now, I can't remember what it was. It was a reason why I had this. Uh, okay, Chicago set to vote on the largest guaranteed basic income program. All right, so apparently Los Angeles it has this too, but the largest basic income program in history in the United States, the $31.5 million 31.5 million dollar 1 year pilot program would give 5,000 low income households 500 a month, and would be funded through the federal money Chicago received from Biden's administration. Right. So when I look at stuff like this, I also look at housing, affordable housing, people building affordable housing, and having a play for uh, getting people housing and stuff like that. That's how I look at that play right there. So if you're in Chicago area, look who's building and where they're building at in those areas, and affordable housing and land and so forth, right? So it says 5,000 recipients who will be chosen randomly, and must be adults who make less than 35,000 a year. I don't know how you surviving on that. Honestly, just things that's just so high right now. The basic income plans have been implemented across the U.S. for decades. With the Cherokee, with the Eastern Banner, like the Eastern Banner Cherokee Indians and so forth, and then they just got this one. So I wanted to make sure I put that out there as well too on what that looks like, because you're probably gonna start seeing more of this because of the way things are rising and so forth. So You're gonna see more of this, so be aware. All right. So let's get in more into what else we got on our agenda here. All right. So um I'm gonna give a shout out to St. Pete from this perspective. Oops, I forgot the H there. All right, so St. Petersburg College adds more than 1 billion in economic impact to the county. Why am I talking about this? Well, when you're looking at Kathy Wood and ARK Investment moving their headquarters here to St. Pete, you have to look at the schools and what the schools are teaching, and then where people are building at, and what's going to fund those jobs and things that she's bringing to the area. So just you know just keep stuff in mind. Can we get 450K? I don't know. I don't know. All right, so all right, ESG. All right, so the Biden administration is making it easier to invest in sustainable funds in your 401k. This is that $25 trillion play that I was talking about. You already know who's actually has their hands in this. You already know the company to watch. What company do you know? Drop in the comments the company I always bring up to watch, because they have money invested in this, right? They have money invested in this for startups to build sustainable stuff, right? So what do you think, who do you think it is that I'm talking about? Kevin, you already know who I'm talking about. It's my favorite company in the whole wide world to watch. They own everything. They have a stake. They own a stake in every bank. Every bank you can think of, they own it. Right? They own a piece of it. Right? All right. So last week, the Labor Department proposed a new rule that would make it easier for employers to offer investments in the workplace retirement plans, such as the 401ks and the 403bs. So-called ESG funds have increased significantly, meaning people are there's also people looking to invest in sustainable funds as far as like startups, building startups. My favorite company I'm talking about is Blackstone, and I'm gonna bring that up in a minute. When we're talking about it, there are a couple of reasons for that. For one, under the federal law, 401k providers must act solely in the interest of its plans participant. ESG funds are still relatively new, so providers did not know for certain if picking them as an investment option would mean sacrificing returns or taking a risk and so forth, right? So we're talking about ESG funds. So climate change is already imposing significant economic consequences. Extreme weather damages physical assets, disrupts productivity and supply chain. Blackstone, BlackRock, my group, my two that I like to look at actually. A second reason ESG is found rare is because the former Trump administration was firmly against ESG, while it didn't ban workplace retirement providers for offering ESG funds outright. It did institute a rule in the 401k plans and pension funds to make investment decisions based solely on pecuniary or economic factors rather than other considerations. So this article goes on. I give this to y'all because I got more information on this, and D can provide that to you in the chat, and you can dive off into that. But let's get into the other plays around this. All right. So Blackstone. All right, Blackstone to build a global ESG team. Came out in April. Right. So I had to do some digging around this. All right, so today they announced, and this was in April, BX announced that it's continuing to expand its environmental social governance team with five newly created senior positions, US, Europe, and Asia, The firm is adding new resources and capabilities within the business unit and building out its corporate ESG structure. Blackstone is committed to deepening ESG integration across its investment process and asset management. The team will continue to advance decade-long focus on ESG with majority stakes in 200 companies and 8,500 real estate assets. Blackstone can create value through driving meaningful change for 500,000 employees and countless communities. The last year, the firm announced a goal to reduce carbon emissions by 15%, um, as well as two diversity initiatives as well too. And it goes on to talk about who's in this play. Right, the managing director, corporate portfolio operations, real estate in Asia, real estate in Europe, and then here they got the Blackstone Alternative Asset Management, dealing with the credit and so forth. And it's just a summary of that. Who else is in this play? Who else is following the ESGs? Right, ESG funds. Carlisle. All right, Carlisle and ESG data push for 4 trillion of funds. Right, Carlisle. Remember I talked about the Carlisle group. Remember I talked about that earlier, probably like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. Investors overseeing more than 4 trillion are banded together to standardize data on environmental, social and governance performance of portfolios of performance of portfolio companies in effort to an effort led by the largest pension and one of the largest private equity funds in the U.S. All right. So California, let's see, we need to start common language across these particular participants so we can actually, in a sustained way, make some progress. I'll give you this. I won't read through this. You can go check this out, and you can follow Carlisle. Yep, the Carlisle group. You can go follow what they're talking about, what they're doing, what their funds are looking like. The play on their funds. I talked about that a while ago. All right. Here's my group. All right. BlackRock former sustainable chief former sustainable investing chief now thinks ESG is a dangerous placebo. This was August of 2024, but again, there's 25 trillion being set aside in I believe in the Biden administration for this. Um, All right. So he goes on to talk about it. Here it is. One of the things right here, looking at five of the world's top markets, said that this type of investing had 35.3 trillion in assets under management during 2021, representing more than a third of all its assets in those markets, and the trend is not showing any signs of slowing down. Um, and said, is sustainable investing just a marketing ploy? Goes into that about that. This is back in August, so you can see where people have transitioned from August into now, and what does that look like, and who all the players are in terms of who are all the funds. When I say players, we're talking about funds. When we're talking about investing, right? What are they? How much are they investing into this, right? So that's just something to look at, right? So let me know if that made sense to you when we're talking about this. Uh, I think the Bush family was a part of that group. There's several books out about BlackRock and Blackstone, several videos on YouTube about BlackRock and Blackstone. The ownership of the Amazon, the ownership of all the banks as far as like where the play goes, the phone ownership of a lot of funds and backing of a lot of funds, including SPACs. The list goes on. We haven't even gotten into just the real estate play. We haven't gotten into hospital plays, pharmaceuticals, schools. When we're talking about colleges, um, it's a just a whole slew. And it's mm, I'm just gonna be quiet on that. And we're gonna keep this thing rolling. All right. So um, here on ESG, talking about jobs, right? So morning coffee. The 500K job that banks can't find people for. Evercore and Moelis don't want to call it I guess junior sanitation or santion. But this article goes in to talk about the financial industry, the ESG teams, sometimes nicknamed swampies after celebrity environmental protesters have historically been a bit of backwater in many fund management companies. It's been a role that has employed proportionally more women than many areas, and probably not coincident hasn't paid particularly well. There was often a sense of ethical fund suitability and so forth, but now they're talking about all of that is changing. ESG is harder than ever. The ESG fund launches are happening at a pace that regulators have got involved, reminding companies that if they're going to put sustainable in the branding, there needs to be someone around the place who knows what they're talking about. And again, it's a 500K job. Just want to put that out there. And in this article, they talk about just the different plays and who they are. Global heads are now being offered 500 in London, but there's also in New York. And then they go on in this article. If you follow these links here, if you follow these links, they talk about the other companies who are looking for people to head these funds and so forth and so on. And get into it. So 500K to head that fund if you're interested. All right. All right. Let's move on. All right, let's move on to I got this informational. Why do I have this as informational? Let's look at it. For some reason I have this as informational. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I had this as informational because I was like, this is interesting. And this came out in August though, but it was a $500 billion of dry powder, meaning money, held by 25 PE firms. Globally, 25 private equity firms hold 509.81 billion in dry powder or capital committed by investors that have been invested or allocated according to data from the SB Global Market. Right? It was $500 billion, and I don't know if this money got invested over time or whatnot, as you know, over the months, but they go on to show. Let me do this. I think they go on to show the largest private equity firm globally by dry powder, and then go through all these funds here. And I wouldn't be surprised that these funds, right, these big funds here are also making an ESG play. So I wouldn't be surprised at that. So you may want to check this out. I'll give you this. You could drop this link for those that just want to do some research on these as well too. And I would look up ESG funds under those companies because I'm sure that there's a play for that. There's a reason why that money was just sitting there, um, for whatever reason, right? There's a reason why that money was sitting there. All right. Oh, trying to get my cursor over here, and I'm looking at the screen, and the cursor is on the screen, but it's on the other screen. All right, REITs, REI, REITs, REITs, right? This one came out October 28th. U.S. equity REITs pull in 104 billion in capital offerings in 2020. Places like Fundrise, probably Acreage. There's another couple of other REITs out there that you can get involved in. There are some stock REITs as well too to be involved in. But again, we're talking 104 billion when we're looking at this. All right. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at REITs. A lot of people say don't invest in them, but mine have been okay. I can't complain, and I'm in Fundrise as well too. All right, General Electric nabs a 1.58 billion propulsion system contract for the Air Force. Let's see, it's firm fixed price contract, including all options. The contract provides 29 F11E GE 129 engines and spares. Is the work is expected to be completed by June 30th or of 2031. That's a long time for that. If it's that's a 10-year contract, that's a long time, right? I'm not sure where they're gonna be doing this work at though. For General Electric, I just want you to have that. All right, let's get into it. Meta. Oh, drop your thoughts in the comment section on Meta. What's your thoughts on Meta? Uh, and what's your thoughts on this on Metaverse? Right. Um, I haven't done a deep dive into this, but I just want to know what's the difference between Metaverse and and um and Second Life and Roblox. What's the difference? Can somebody tell me? Because I'm looking to understand. Other than the data driven behind it, you going into a verse, making your own thing, doing whatever. I'm sure you're gonna probably build some NFTs, but what's the play here? What's the difference? Right? I know about AR, VR. I'm aware. All right. But those that are not aware, as part of the rebranding, Meta will begin trading under the ticker symbol MVRS on December the 1st. The shares have climbed since his announcement for Metaverse, and it says that Metaverse cautioned investors that massive investments in the burgeoning technology might take more than a decade to fully pay. The Metaverse vision for us is a 5, 10, 15-year journey, according to some reporters. So, Metaverse, right? So when looking at this, right, I was like, so what does that mean for Roblox? Because they do the Metaverse. It's just more for adults versus Roblox for kids. But we've seen that play for Roblox as well too, right? Oh, y'all don't see my screen no more. Let me see. I'll stop it and share it. You see my screen? You see the general electric D put it up on there? Yeah, what don't you see? Oh, I'm reading out loud from my notes, if that's what you were talking about. Yeah, I'm reading from my notes. All right, so that was from Meta. All right, so I wanted to show this, and we're gonna change subjects like a lot real quick, but that's okay. Work with me. All right, this is about quantum. Two Chinese teams have claimed they've reached primacy with quantum computers. The reason why I mention this is because there's a big play for quantum and artificial intelligence. And let me pull this up for you so you all can see this right here. Display. IBM, Raytheon collaborating on AI, cryptography, and quantum computing. Right? Um, there's a big push for this. Like I showed you, how much money was going into quantum this year, but again, we're talking about artificial intelligence market. IBM partnering with the University of Tokyo on quantum computer. Uh, this is I can't tell you how much the AI, machine learning, Rust, DevSecOps, all these things play together. Like they play together. So I just want you to be aware of this. I'll get this to D. You guys can read this article if you want to. All right. When I talked about, we were talking about that ESG. right? Remember we were talking about ESG? Well, this is another thing that I was reading about this morning. Model suggests a billion people could get safe drinking water from a hypothetical harvesting device. Who is making the device? What harvesting device? What's included in the device? Don't be surprised if there's a startup or a fund that's going to back this. This is research, again, machine learning models, AI. What device are they? What device is this? It's a solar device, but who's making this device? Where's this? How is this device going to work in different areas and so forth, right? When we're looking at this, so again, we're talking about a model that suggests a billion people could get safe drinking water from a hypothetical harvesting device. I don't know what a hypothetical harvesting device. Let me see if somebody else has info on that. There we go, right there. Hack post model suggests a billion. Like I say, it came out a day ago about this, right? Yep, same thing. Everybody leads back to that same article, right? Just something to be aware of. I also found this morning. Remember, I talked about Toyota is doing a has an EV play coming up, right? Remember we talked about that. Toyota announces $461 million investment in the Kentucky plant. They're adding new technology to increase is flexibility and carbon footprint, but there's also an EV play that Toyota has, and I believe it was out of that Kentucky location, right? What I didn't know was this. I didn't know that Volvo was not public. I didn't know Volvo wasn't public. Anyway, October 28th, Volvo, valuing it up to 23 billion, was set to IPO. So if IPO this week. I didn't know Volvo was not public. Right? I did not know Volvo was not public. Right? Who knew Volvo wasn't public? Right? I didn't know. 23 billion. I thought Volvo was publicly traded already. Didn't know. I found this bit of news interesting too. All right. This is coming out of Atlanta, out of Covington. Korean firm SK plans to $473 million microchip part plant, hiring 400 people. So there'll be a chip from a Korean company out in Covington, Georgia, which is east of Atlanta, outside of Conyers. Um, they're building a plant for to build microchip parts, right? And they're going to employ 400 people, right? So again, chip making in Georgia. There's already that solar panel farm in Georgia that's is being built, but that's south. Facebook already has a data center in Georgia in southern in the same areas, 2 hours, excuse me, away from that solar panel farm, where they bought. I don't know. I think it was like 100 acres or something like that. Um, and so now you got this Korean chip maker building microchip parts, right? So just be aware. Be aware of this as well too. That's coming down. You can look up SK. It probably won't be on. It may not be on the U.S. market side. Facial recognitions in schools. This is out of Let me see. I think this was over, yeah, in Scotland. They're doing facial recognition in schools. I wouldn't be surprised if it starts in the U.S. as well too, if it has already done. Yep, Volvo. Yep, is I like the new Volvo SUVs. I get laughed at when I go up there to look at that Volvo SUV. They laugh at me. I got some. I have some bougie friends that work at the dealerships. It's like, yeah, they laugh at me. I like the look of the Volvo. All right. So did you all see this? This is gonna have an AI machine learning play as well too. Robot umpires are coming to baseball. This came out October the 28th under robotics, machine learning, and AI. So they can tell you what's a strike and what's not a strike. There's a team already doing it, and they was like nobody even noticed that it was not a human. People didn't even know they're already out, and people didn't even know that the umpire was not human. So well, won't be nobody rolling up on the AI robot. I don't think you want those problems again, but there we go. We have that. All right, November the 15th, which is my birthday. Lucid charts, right? Lucid is backed by Amazon. So Lucid stockholders mark your calendars. November the 15th, Lucid Motors is exciting shareholders as its first earnings date, which is just announced. And Lucid Motors and newly relocated Tesla with the former preparing for its first reporting quarter since going public. The events stand to be defining moment for LCID and so forth. So I don't know anybody. Did anybody? Is anybody behind a Lucid car? No, man, maybe. All right, so let's get into it. Our last but not least, we got 3 minutes. We can do it. 1 o'clock. We can do it. Yep, bumping chest with the umpire. Yep, that's how you get Skynet. I don't think nobody's gonna run up on the umpire and try to beat down the umpire. I don't see that. All right, I just don't see that. I don't see that. I don't see that. Oh, I forgot to mention this one. This is another one that I wanted to mention. Gosh, I can't believe I forgot this. Before we get into my next little thing, Microsoft was partnering with AtBay on cyber insurance. Why? Because we keep getting hacked. So cyber insurance is huge. Cyber insurance is huge. And this even goes all the way down to the contractor. So if you're like doing government contracting, you have an obligation to one have insurance. The other piece is you need to also have report anytime you get hacked, right? Yep. So cyber insurance, right? So just keep aware. I wonder, do you need cyber insurance for the umpire? What kind of insurance do you need for the umpire that's back there? People roll up on it and kick it over or something like that. What kind of insurance do you have for that? Do you treat it as a human? Do you go to jail if you chest bump? I just have questions. How do you treat that? Do you treat it as a I don't know. I don't know. So do you have cyber insurance for the robot? I don't know. So I don't know, but the cyber robot it is using AI and machine learning as it learns to as it goes to say, hey, that's a strike or that is a ball, right? So again, I don't know. Can you kick it over? What if I kick this cyber robot? If I kick the umpire in the knee, does it hit me? Is it being trained to fight? I don't know. Does it know what to pull articles about umpires who gotten into it with people or whatnot? I don't know. Yeah, imagine hacking the umpire. That's what I'm saying. Cyber insurance, right? You're gonna need cyber insurance for the umpire. I don't know. I have a lot of questions. How does that work? Who's who's gonna govern? Yeah, yeah. Who's gonna govern this? What does that look like across the board in terms of cybersecurity of the umpire? Where's it pulling data from? Um, is there going to be any bias in it, because some people are like, oh, we give that, some parts like we give that person a break. That was a, that's a strike, but it was close enough where it'd be a ball. Like, I, I don't know. I don't know. I got questions. I just have questions. Pay me no mind. I'm just being silly. I don't know. Would the ump stop the fight? I don't know. So I don't know. It's already out there. It's already been in the game, and people didn't even notice it. They didn't even know. Scratch my head. Scratch my head. All right, all right, all right, all right. I'll move on to your favorite thing that everybody want to talk about all the time, crypto. All right. How a single strategy crypto algorithm turned $100 into $36,000 in 10 months. I'll give you this article. You can read through this article and check it out. So again, we're talking about how a single strategy crypto algorithm turned $100 into 36,000 in 10 months. They get into actually no human can, even a trading bot couldn't replicate this particular strategy in real life, as it's a thought experiment, a proof of concept rather than an actual way to make money on crypto. The exchange fees alone would kill somebody. But they got you can't copy this. That's what they're saying. But they're talking about uh and this is what I get into when I talk about the bad things about some of the boot camps, and I'll go back up over this, but are don't talk about algorithms and data structures in the classes. So again, you can read this article and look at what they did with that algorithm. I thought you would find that interesting. Um, let's see. Let's go here. I have so much more, but I'll talk about it on the next show. There's a Squid Game cryptocurrency, and it's up nearly 2,400% in the last 24 hours. That was on the 28th. Squid is now at $2.22, up nearly 2,400% over the last 24 hours, and its market capitalization is 174 million. The Squid token has launched as an exclusive coin of the Squid Game project, a crypto play to earn platform. Netflix new Korean language show Squid Game, and they are coming out with a game, right? They're coming out with an actual game about the deadly tournament of adults playing children game in hopes of winning a big cash prize. Is world is a worldwide sensation. They made almost $1 billion off of this. I showed you that. And they're gonna continue to make more. They're gonna ride this out, right? The coin, which started its pre-sale October 20th, apparently sold out in 1 second. According to its white paper, you can read the white paper, joins a list of other parody cryptocurrencies that have witnessed big run-ups for no particular reason other than good publicity. The meme-inspired Shiba Inu coin, for example, has doubled in price in the last week. And they go on to, in that, we all know about that one when we're looking at this. I'll give you this. You can run through and check this out and read up on it if you want. Play around with the info. All right. Now let's get into this part right here. And this is our last little one. And then we'll be back at 2. 14-year-old girl made over $1 million from selling 8,000 NFTs. Here's the 6-step process she and her older brother used to create the sold out project, and why they picked a Solana over Ethereum. And it goes into more about the project and what they did and how they made $1 million. Right? And some of the blockchain and cybersecurity blockchain jobs are starting around 3 to 500. We were talking about that this week. So, you know, I just want to put this information out there so you can have it. Hopefully, D will post that for you. That was the last hoorah of that. Let me know if you all like the information. Was it good? Did you get some ideas? You got some plays, some thoughts? Let me know. I don't know how many people in the comments and stuff like that, but again, we just want to make sure that you had the information. Check out the space, the mission to the Wi-Fi, and the mission to the moon, and then the mission to launch communities around the moon, and so forth. See, down to earth, you said earlier you're not sure how you feel. You have more free money in Chicago. Oh, okay, yeah. Um, Let me drop back down here. NFT investing, yeah, those blockchain jobs are starting to ramp up. Yep, they are. Uh, Again, when we're looking at this, what does that look like long term, right? With the NFT and jobs and so forth, right? We saw the future stuff that actually came out. Did y'all saw about the futures play, the Bitcoin ETF? I didn't even go into that because I talked about it a while ago, so I didn't want to bring it back up again. But we saw about that, right? You also saw there is an ETF. I think I'm in it in my swap account, that has Bitcoin under it. But of course, Kathy Woods has one as well too. There's also the play for EV as well too. There's a whole lot of plays. Yeah, there's a lot of plays around here when we're talking about investments. But I would start looking at space to get ahead of the curve. Actually, uh, who are the companies in space? I will also start looking at space, quantum, and AI. That's where I will be putting my future bets into. Slow growth, but gonna be a quick ramp up. It's only gonna take one person. If we're talking about 2024, we're going into 2022 now. It's only gonna take one person to make a successful land on the moon and start building. Right? They already got the Wi-Fi, right? Elon is probably going to be ahead of the game in that. So that's probably going to be a Tesla play. Elon doesn't have a cloud. So the question I would have is, if I was him, which he probably doesn't care, but what 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 cloud would you grab a hold of? Would you buy? Would you go out and buy Google? Would you partner with Google because they're the cheapest? Would you partner with Oracle, right? And say, hey, come embed your stuff, because you got to remember. Let me show you where I'm going with this and why I'm thinking about it. Right? You have to remember, when we get there, connections in between. How long does it take data to travel from there to here, right? And when I say there, space on the moon to here. How long does that data take back to travel? NASA's been doing it forever, so who are they using? What's on the back end of that? But we don't want data to travel back that far. But we just want to be on the moon and just have that quick access. What does that look like? Who is that? Is that an Azure stack? Is there an AWS outpost? Um, what does that look like? So I don't know. Do you build your own stack? And on top of that, do you use OpenShift? Do you use vanilla Kubernetes? Do you use K3s? Do you use something new? Are you using WebAssembly? Right? What does that look like? So when we're thinking about this, you got to think in terms of like quick access to data to do an analysis on and get that back to you. I always go, and you can look at it from this perspective, and this is a military perspective. The warfighter, right, has to make a decision on whether or not to enter that building or not, right? So how quick does that information need to get to that person, right? Same way if we're in space, I need to make a decision on whether or not I need to do this or not do this. What does that look like? Um, Again, when we're talking about these things, I try to tell you, think big picture. What is the big picture? Then how do we break that down into small modular solutions to actually solve the problem, right? We're trying to solve a problem. So when we're solving that problem, you think about investments, and when you're thinking about investments, thinking about the technology behind those investments, and then you're thinking about the from that technology behind investments, would you invest in it? How do you build it? Make your money in tech, put your money somewhere else, right? And so that's what the second show is about. We're gonna get into investments today. So much, when we miss a week, it's just so much to talk about. So many things that I can't put all into one show. Like I said, we need multiple shows. But again, see you at 2 o'clock. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share the information. Shout out to everybody who's in there. We appreciate you. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you take away and run off. Again, the 200,000 was my original goal, but I'm thinking changing that for everybody that is a part of the platform. It's a reason why 200 is my min, but I really want to push everybody above that. So let whatever we can do to help you get there. That's what we're trying to do. But again, we'll see you at 2 o'clock. I can go on forever. All right.